Hi, my name is Chef Maya-Camille Broussard, and I am so happy that you could join me and Sunny with a chance of flowers for the Sunnyfest. I am the owner of Justice of the Pies, a bakery that specializes in sweet and savory pies, quiches, and tarts. I am also the author of the cookbook, Justice of the Pies, and today we are going to be making the tomato and basil quiche. But first, I have to figure out which one of these wines is perfect for the tomato and basil quiche. I think I'm going to have to go with the bubbly. The bubbly, along with all of the other wines by Sunny with a Chance of Flowers, is amazing for picnics, for hanging out with your friends on a weeknight, for do you really need a special occasion to enjoy an amazing wine that has low in calories, it has low alcohol, and zero sugar? Sunny with a Chance of Flowers is going to be the perfect complement, especially this bubbly, with the tomato and basil quiche. Oh, it smells so good. Yum. So let's get started. First, we are going to need 5 eggs. And if you have a vessel, a baking vessel that's deeper, feel free to double this recipe. But for this recipe, I am going to use 5 eggs. And I know that eggs are a bit pricey right now, but eggs that are organic and or cage-free actually happen to sometimes be less expensive than conventional eggs. Who knew? Next, we are going to put in our seasonings. So I think that what makes this quiche very special is just like how the wine has low calories, this quiche has low salt, because it's packed with so much flavor that we don't need to add a ton of salt. So we are going to start with garlic powder and onion powder. Put that in. I also have smoked paprika and a little bit of cayenne just for a little kick. Then I have a trio of dried spices, which includes dried oregano, dried basil, and thyme. Then I have freshly cracked black pepper. And we do need some salt to bring out the flavor of the quiche, but not a lot. So we're gonna add kosher salt. And then to bind this quiche together and make sure that it'll set when it's baking, we're adding a tablespoon of all-purpose unbleached flour. We're going to whisk that together. This is what your quiche custard should look like. Now I'm going to take a quick sip and then I'm going to grab some milk to put into the quiche custard. Yummy. So I got 1 cup of milk, which is going to go ahead and pour that into our quiche custard and whisk that in until it is well incorporated. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Now, I have 1 pie pan that is lined with my recipe for an all butter crust. But what's really important when you are making something that has a loose filling in the pie crust is that you place the pie plate onto a baking sheet. So don't try and put the quiche directly into the oven just like this. Be sure to place it on a baking sheet so that if there's any spillage, it doesn't go on the bottom of your oven, but rather it lands on the baking sheet. So, tomato and basil quiche, what goes in here? Tomatoes, duh. So I like to use baby tomatoes because when I slice tomatoes, the moisture from inside the tomato can sometimes make the quiche a little bit harder to set when it's baking, but if I have whole baby tomatoes, then I'm more likely to get a more even bake that has a quiche that's set all throughout. So I love this tricolor. These are like grape tomatoes, very pretty. I have orange, reds, yellows, a couple of dark green baby tomatoes. So I'm just gonna line the bottom of my pie crust with the tomatoes. So it looks like this, beautiful tricolor. Then we're also going to use fresh basil. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick off a couple of basil leaves and place it right on top of the tomatoes. I might actually put a couple under the tomatoes so that the colors of the tomatoes pop and they're not hidden completely by the leaves. Okay, so I got my basil lined in my pie plate as well. And look, it's so beautiful and so colorful. And the greens with the yellows and orange and red tomatoes. It's a cacophony of wonderful colors. It's bursting with flavor. You could just tell that it's bursting with flavor by looking at it. But it's still missing something. And I think that something is cheese. Can't have a quiche without some cheese. I like to use cheddar, but sometimes for a little bit of nuttiness that actually pairs well with the wine, I like to use Parmesan or Manchego. And I always have to sneak and eat some cheese. So this is shaved Parmesan. Wine and cheese, perfect combination. Wine, cheese, and quiche, the absolute trifecta of perfection. Okay, so in our pie crust, we have tomatoes, basil, Parmesan, cheese. All that is missing is the super flavorful quiche custard with all the spices: basil, thyme, oregano, garlic, onion, smoked paprika, cayenne, cracked black pepper, and a little bit of salt. So we're just going to gently pour this into our pie crust. And then we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take 40 minutes. It depends on the temperament of your oven. But what you want to look for is you want the quiche to be set in the center, but you don't want it to be overbaked because you don't want to have really hard A's. You still want a nice soft texture to your quiche. So what I would do is I always say, I look for it to kind of rise, sort of like a souffle, and that's how I know it's ready. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, and then I'm gonna take a couple of more sips of my bubbly wine and wait for the quiche to come out. I just pulled this quiche out of the oven. The tomato and basil quiche is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. And the aroma is just bursting through. And this is what I love about quiche. You know I have to have a slice. I love that it's something that you could eat either warm or at room temperature, like hot or at room temperature. I think the best is like slightly warm. But I also love that just like with a wine from Sunny with a Chance of Flowers, you can have it for brunch, you can have it for lunch, or you can have it for dinner. There is no rule that says that you have to have this quiche or the Sunny with a Chance of Flowers wine at a certain time of the day. All day, every day is a good time to have quiche and wine. Ooh, look at that. Look at that, it's so fluffy. So I was thinking about trying one of the other wines with this quiche, but I'm going to stick with this bubbly because it's super delicate. The bubbles are delicate. It doesn't like come up in your nose. It doesn't irritate you. It's so just chill, and the flavors are really balanced, which is really good because you want a very balanced wine when you're eating it with food, or you know, you want a balanced wine when you are just enjoying it without food. So I'm going to take a little bite, if you will. Oh, it smells so good. Mmm. 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 I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Quiche and wine. Mm. Okay, so look, that is the tomato and basil quiche. But I urge you to please pick up a copy of my book, Justice of the Pies, because I have 84 other amazing recipes in here. And I also share stories about people who are exceptional and they do amazing things. And then I create recipes inspired by them. And talking about being inspired, I hope that you pick up a bottle of Sunny with a Chance of Flowers wine and you become inspired to create a new recipe, inspired to call some friends for a day at the beach, inspired to share this with a honey, your special honey if you have one. There is nothing that makes me more happy than to share wines that I love, food that I love, and people that I love, which is what I do in my book, which is what I'm doing in this recipe tutorial. And I hope that this summer you go out and you find the flowers that make you happy. You find that this wine will make you happy. And I urge you to drink responsibly and enjoy your summer under the sun with flowers. Bye. Mm.